Hey, everybody. Hey, Blissful. Hey, Blair. I hope you guys enjoyed the new intro that I will be editing for each watch along to include the name of the movie that I'm going to be doing the watch along on. Now, um, in case you blinked and you missed it when the intro was playing, the watch along for tonight is Private School, starring Phoebe Cates and Matthew Modine. This is pretty much going to be a sex comedy, guys. And Steve was kidding me a little bit earlier. He said, "You're doing a watch along for Private School. That movie shows a lot of nudity." I said, "Yeah, but it's comedic and it's a sex comedy. So people expect that. They expect there to be sex, that we suspect there to be raunchiness, nudity, mostly of the female kind. That's to be expected. And the reason why he's kidding me is because earlier today we did, thank you, Blissful. You say great intro. Um, the reason why he was kidding me about that is because we did a Eurocult show this morning, or recorded one. Actually, this one was a live stream. So some of you got to be in on that live this morning. I thought we were going to do them that way from now on, but evidently this was kind of like a special thing or a test out to see how this went. And the movie that Darren had picked was Amuck, with Barbara Boucher and Rosalba Neary. And yes, those two lovely ladies get naked quite a bit in the film. And they fully expected me not to care much for the film, which I did not. And here's why. Here's the big difference between a movie like Amuck and a movie like we're going to do the watch along for tonight, Private School, is because you expect, maybe I should expect to see that much nudity and that much sex and that much oozing sleaze from a film like Amuck. But one thing you don't get from Private School, in my opinion, you may get raunchiness, but you don't get out sleaze, in my opinion. And I just find this movie more fun than I did Amuck. So I don't know how many of you in here tonight have seen Amuck. I'm not sure how many people have seen Private School before. This may be a new one on you guys and gals. Um, but I hope that everybody's going to enjoy this tonight. Um, I do want to cover two or three things in the Daily Grindhouse, and I'm going to do that here really soon. But just a little housekeeping. I do have the link to join me live on the stream. I sent that to Jay and also sent him the link from the Internet Archive, or archive.org, for the link to Private Schools. So if you don't own your own copy like I do, you can watch it for free without commercials, I believe. I believe it's all without commercials on archive.org or the Internet Archive. And I have that link there as well. So I'm not sure if Jay will join us tonight or not. TJ, I believe, is at this moment at a horror convention. So I wish him, a good time. I hope he has a good time and gets to meet everybody that wants to meet. I think he was really interested in going up to see Joe Bob and Darcy. So I hope that he gets to do that and that he had a great time with his friend today. And so I don't expect TJ to be in here. I don't know if there will be CK and Uncle Bill drive-bys, as Blissful likes to call them. Generally on the weekends, I've been told by CK that he spends a lot of time with his family on the weekends now. And Uncle Bill spends a lot of time with his kids this time of the year. I mean, I think I don't want it to sound like that. I think he tries to spend as much time as possible with his kids at all times. But, when Uncle Bill was on here last, you guys and gals that were in here or watched it on the replay, you certainly heard Uncle Bill say how busy he was with different activities that his kids were involved in. And man, there were a lot of them. So, that you want to be there for your kids, but at the same time, it does take a little time. So you don't generally get to, hop on as many streams or do as many streams yourself. And I totally get that. And I support both of them on that. Being with your family in any capacity is a good thing. So, if anybody wants to join me on the stream at any point in time, again, barring it not being 30 seconds before the movie ends, feel free, if the link gets lost in the chat, I've got both of the links starred. Feel free to say, hey, Dana, could you put that link back in the chat? And I will be glad to do that, as well as putting the link for the movie back in the chat if it gets lost in there. If you need a timestamp, no law says you got to be here right at the beginning, or I don't make that rule. Yeah, Blair, I'm not sure Jay's going to be joining us tonight or not. I did send him the link, the StreamYard link, and I sent him the link for private school. But he may be busy or might be relaxing or whatever. So if he pops in, I'll be glad to add him. If not, I guess y'all will get my tired old ass on here talking about private school. But, anybody else can feel free to join me. Just keep in mind, if I don't know who you are, if you're not a regular that comes in here, where I, know that, oh, yeah, hey, this person's okay. I know Blair, I know Blissful, I definitely know Jay and TJ and Uncle Bill and CK, people like that. John, Movie Junkie John. Um, can feel comfortable just if they show up backstage, I can add them. But if it's anybody else that I'm not familiar with their name or anything, please don't take offense. But simply don't, hey, Darren, but just a word of caution. Don't simply send me private messages in the chat begging to come on and saying things like, let's be, or I just want to be friends. That kind of weirds me out when strangers come in here and do that. So please don't do that. And the other thing is, I may miss the private chats and I may not even see, I may get busy and involved with the movie and may not even see what you put in the chat. So, and also, if you click on the link and you end up backstage, and I can see everybody that comes in backstage, um, make your face visible if you're going to be on camera, because again, I like to be able to see the person. The one person, I only saw the top of their head, and I thought it was old Curly Jaws at first until they told me their name and were saying, I just want to be friends and stuff. That's the kind of stuff that, again, it weirds me out. I'm not a mean person. I'm not a bitchy person on a regular basis or anything, but I have to know, that you're not going to get on here and be strange or do weird things. I could get you on here and it could be some guy that unzips his fly and shows everything he's got. And that would be shocking for everybody that's in here. It would be detrimental to my channel because it'd probably get me yanked off of YouTube. So please understand that I have to be cautious unless it's somebody that I've known for a while. Okay. And so just putting that out there. I don't think, and the dogs are making noise. So sorry. I know I don't have to worry about Blissful or Blair or Darren or Super Batman Nerd or, any of the other people that have been on here. live on the stream with me already. So the other person, all I could see was their room. It was like they were panning their camera over their dresser drawers, their computer desk. And I don't know if they didn't know their camera was on or they were just trying to do something weird or, I don't know. But those two people, I ended up having to kick them. And I don't, I don't like to do that. But I just had no clue what kind of person they were. So just adding that in here for, there might be some people in here that aren't chatting that might be thinking about joining in. I just want to put that out there and be upfront about that. Let me see what everybody's saying in here. Blissful, you say it's been a long time since I've watched this movie. I just rented it. Right. Yes, Blair, I did put up a cooking video of sorts. Yeah, and we had a few people in there. And on that note, Blissful, I know Brian's a friend of yours, and I hope to goodness I did not offend him. I really didn't mean to offend him. Honestly, I've been having a kind of off day all day, and I didn't mean to come off sounding rough when he was given the suggestion. It's Me and Steve have been talking about ways that I can have multiple angles, you know. So he said, Dana, I've got this, and I hadn't even thought of doing this. So he said, yeah, you can use your tablet. That can be one angle. And then he said, I have an old iPhone that we can add as another camera, and it can, he said, I'll help you set it up and we'll do something with maybe Velcro. And if it falls and breaks, it's not like it's your tablet or, because I don't even have that tablet paid off yet. And I'm not even going to tell you guys how, and that's why I was a little bit picky about the setup of my tablet. Because the last thing I want to happen is the tablet that I haven't even started making payments on falls off on the floor and breaks or shatters or whatever. So a little, I know I didn't explain this during the video, but my mind was like really sidetracked trying to do this video. And so I didn't do a good job of explaining myself. So please, if Brian comes in here, I will certainly apologize to him in person. But please, Whistle, if you talk to him, could you, explain that, I didn't mean to come off sounding rough and bitchy about that. It's just, I have been real tense about, you know, I had fun with it, and I've been really looking forward to it, and but I've been staying up too late at night the last few nights. I mean, Blissful knows this because she's been talking to me. And I guess maybe I'm a little on edge and a little paranoid about, what people are going to think of the videos and stuff like that. And I guess I just popped off a little too quickly. I was a little too hasty. But improvements are definitely in the works. Steve's going to help me out with that, bless his heart. And as soon as I can get a different setup where I can not only use the tablet to get an angle on me or whatever, not that you guys want to see me, and then use the phone, the camera on the phone to get another angle on what I'm actually mixing up or all of that. So that is in the works. And let me step away for just 1 second and see if I can get Darcy in. Darcy. Darcy. Zoe. Come on. Come on, girls. Come on, Zoe. Zoe. Come on, Zoe. Not bad. I think you're a mean dog, dog. All right. Sorry. Hopefully these dogs will get calmed down. But Blair, I'm glad that you're excited about watching the video. Sorry to interrupt that whole train of thought, but that's been really bothering me, how I may have sounded a little earlier today when I was doing that live stream. Hey Darren. Liz, you say that's sketchy to you, people not, saying and doing the things that those two people did. I hope not, Bliss. You say I don't think he did. Brian is a sweetheart. He seems very nice. It's just sometimes I guess I feel badly because I thought, oh, I've got this fixed now, because TJ had said something, and I thought, well, I won't get a wall mount because I talked about a wall mount with Blissful. She suggested that. And the only reason I didn't get the wall mount is number one, I couldn't find one with the right features that I needed for my tablet. A lot of these wall mounts were for, televisions and things like that. And I just couldn't come up with one that I thought would work. And, so I didn't go that route, but I thought surely this, this thing that I can bend up and down and stuff. But then as I was messing with it and trying to get the tablet to tilt down, it was almost falling out of the little cradle it's on. So I was like, that ain't gonna work. And I hate to be anal about my equipment, but when you've got a brand new tablet that you haven't even started making payments for, you really don't want to risk breaking it. But I also, on the other side of that coin, I want to be sure to do the right thing and make the best possible videos I can. Hey Daniel, you said the horse riding scene is epic. It certainly is epic. Blissful, you say if I see him in the live, I'll go tell him. Okay, I appreciate that. Daniel, you say, I like the trio of guys getting into crazy situations and dressing as girls. That's right, Blissful. LOL, dogs on wild. Well, Blissful, you say, Daniel, you'll get the lives exactly how you want them. It takes a few tries. Yeah, I'm still, working out the kinks. I think one of the next ones I'm going to do that I'm really excited about, I don't know if it'll be the very next one, but there's an Orange Julius recipe on the Homicidal Homemaker. I'm going to promote her channel again. I hope some people checked out the Homicidal Homemaker online. She also has a cooking show on YouTube. I would imagine you could look up Homicidal Homemaker and her stuff would come up. But this is a Chopping Mall Orange Julius, which anybody that has seen Chopping Mall will be familiar that, yes, it does take place in a mall. It takes place during the 80s. And during that time period, an Orange Julius at the mall was the thing. And Steve said he had more than one Orange Julius in his youth. So I'm really planning on making that. But here's the, I'll go into more detail with this during the Daily Grindhouse. But I do want to make that. But there's something a little extra that Casey, the Homicidal Homemaker, had with hers. And I'm going to talk about that here more in just a little bit. But let's go ahead and kick off this Daily Grindhouse real quick, and then I'm going to talk about a couple of things. All right. So the first thing I want to show, and you guys and gals are going to get so sick of seeing things to do with that have to do with my new jacket, customized jacket I'm working on. You're probably going to say, finish it already, Dana, and show it to us. But remember how I said I wanted to put 81 on the sleeve of it, just like the varsity jackets? And this was a suggestion Steve had of putting 81 on there because 1981 is, of course, when Evil Dead came out. And Evil Dead is, my all time favorite horror movie. But I got some numbers that, sew on numbers that I thought were going to be big enough. They were too small to put on the sleeve. So I ended up putting them on one of the breast uh, pockets or whatever you want to call it. But these that I got in today, now I think they're going to work for the sleeve. So they are pink and they're made out of chenille. I don't know if you guys can see that really well. I'm trying to, and they have gold around them. So there's the 8, and there's the, so there we go. I forget that my camera's kind of mirroring things. So there you go. That's better. You think it's cute? And Blair, you say 81 was the year you were born. You're around the same age as my brother. I think his birthday year was actually 82. So the other thing I want to show you is, and I'm going to have to share my screen to be able to show you guys. One second here. All right. One second here. It always takes me a little bit to be able to get this just right. So just one second. Now, crud. It's just not wanting to. There we go. So let's see here. Oops. Well, crud. All right. So hopefully you guys can see this. Maybe. Lord help. There we go. So can everybody see that Chopping Mall logo? Um, I hope you can, because this always takes some getting used to. But hopefully you can see that Chopping Mall logo kind of behind this other window here. Well, if I need to, there we go. Oh crap. All right. Well, you're getting the gist of it, right? Okay, so I'm gonna hit stop sharing. Yeah, I know. It's a little that part of it's a little awkward with sharing my screen on StreamYard. Some of the stuff I can actually show a little better. But here's what we can do. So you'll get some idea what Casey, the homicidal homemaker, did with hers. Let me just share that screen. So as you can see there, she's got little styrofoam cups with Chopping Mall. Like the Chopping Mall colors are reversed. I thought, what the hey, you know? And I was like, maybe she's got a template for that. But I did never see a template in it. And so I was thinking of ways that I could kind of create a similar effect. Okay. So I found this guy on YouTube who was showing you how to put your own logos on styrofoam cups. Okay. So I watched about three of his videos, and the most recent one he did back in July of this year. What he does is he takes heat transfer paper and he prints out logos on it. He either cuts them out manually with scissors, which is probably what I'm going to be able to be doing, other than buying a machine to do it automatically. And then he puts the logo on a cup with some heat transfer vinyl on top of it. And he puts an iron on low setting. Now you're probably thinking, whoa, Dana, that's going to burn the cup. Well, he said he did burn a few cups when he was originally doing this. And this is his own process he came up with. So he says that you put the iron on very low heat. You just use like the tip of the iron, and you use the tip of the iron, and you kind of rub it over this heat transfer vinyl and the design. And he says you'll know when it's working when you see the texture of the styrofoam cup coming through the logo. And it's just the most awesome effect. This guy is amazing. And so his channel, I'm going to stop sharing this. His channel, in case you guys and gals are interested in doing this yourself or trying it out, because I'm really excited about doing this. And so let me share my screen again, because I'm going to advertise the hell out of these people because they are just amazing people. Casey, the homicidal homemaker, and this guy from It's Reek TV. So hopefully you guys and gals can see this, and you can go to his page. You can watch some of his videos. He has a lot of different videos on different things. It's not just, putting the logos on the styrofoam cups, but the styrofoam cup logo thing is genius to me. Uh, and so I would definitely say check this guy out. He's got so much stuff going on. He not only does these cups, but he's got other things he does, like t-shirts and hats, I believe, socks, just all kinds of things. Um, but anyway, I'm going to stop sharing that screen. But if you go to It's Reek TV, then you can check out his videos, and you can also subscribe to his channel. Thank you, Blissful, for saying it looks good. Blissful, you say I love printables, completely addicted. Yes, it would be great for gatherings. Now, this guy has done, you know, generally these are styrofoam cups that people are going to use them and then throw them away, right? So he was telling how you could make a profit on these things, even though people are going to eventually throw them away. Is, he explained it like this: if you buy 500 cups for a certain price, and you make several of them for someone, and you charge them 50 cents or $1 a piece, he said you can really make a profit off of those. And I'm not saying I'm going to try to make a profit off of them, but I definitely want to try this process that he has created in order to make my own chopping mall cup to put my orange Julius in. Hey, Uncle Bill, you want to know what the hell's going on? Well, it's me blathering away before the private school watch along. X-Ray, you said, hey, X-Ray, by the way, you said Private School is a very important movie for me. It contains the first pair of movie boobs I ever saw as a kid. That chick on the horse is seared into my brain. Betsy Russell is the same. Seriously, you never heard of Private School? Well, get your ass on here, Uncle Bill. I've got a link, a free link from the Internet Archive. You can watch it. You don't have an excuse. You know, I've got the Blu-ray, but never fear. Um, the link is there. The link to join me live on the stream is also on there. It's pretty much a sex comedy, Uncle Bill. So I would love to have you on here. Otherwise, it's going to be my tired old ass. So, um, just to let everybody know where I am queued up to, I'm 10 seconds in, just before the Universal logo comes on. Um, and well, yeah, sort of like Porky, Super Batman Nerd. Yeah, there was a whole bunch of those during this time period. Um, but I'm going to give everybody a few minutes for those of you that are going to be watching along tonight to get all queued up, and then we will go ahead and get started about 7:35 ish. So, and I may have to, of course, we'll leave the movie running for everybody. Everybody can keep their movie running. But I may have to step away, and run to the restroom because I drink way too much caffeine. Um, oh, and a little word about the reanimator reagent serum Jello shot syringes that I made in the cooking video earlier. Um, Now, you guys may think I'm stupid, but when I read that the girl said put them in the ice box, my brain thought freezer, right? Now, I didn't ruin them by putting them in the freezer, but I think she meant refrigerator. And Steve was like, well, why didn't she just say refrigerator? I said, I don't know, Steve. People word things differently. So if you do make them and put them in the freezer, you're not hurting anything, because all I did once mine got pretty solid is I transferred the cups that the syringes were sitting in into the refrigerator, and that way they can just stay cold. Okay. But I was able to try one out, and it was pretty good, but I am going to limit myself to one of these a day till they're gone, just so I don't overdo it on them, because they do have vodka in them. But I think I'm going to make a little modification the next time I make these. Instead of, yeah, that's right, Coco. Steve tells me a certain concentration of alcohol will not freeze. And they didn't freeze solid, they just got really thick. And so I had to let it, set at room temperature for a little bit before I could use the plunger on the syringe to make the stuff come back out. Yeah, I didn't put two and two together, Super Batman Nerd. I'm a little dense in that respect. That back then the ice box was referred to as a fridge. But this girl that does these videos and has the homicidal homemaker site. She's a more modern girl. She's not like she's not a grandma or nothing. So I'm really not. I'm like Steve. I'm not sure why she chose to use the term icebox. Maybe she thought everybody knew that an icebox was a refrigerator and not a freezer. Um, but all is well with those things. I simply let that one sit out at room temperature for a few minutes, and then it was as good as gold. You know, I could squirt it out there. I could squirt it in my mouth, and like a sex. I don't know how old she is exactly, but she's not like you know old enough that she would be saying icebox on a regular basis. That icebox is probably something my granny or my gran would have talked about. She might be southern like you, the super Batman nerd, and it's possible. I don't know. I think ice and freezer because I put ice trays in the freezer, you know. So I just wanted to add that because when I was doing the video, I read icebox and I was thinking, oh, freezer. So that's what I told everybody during the live stream, put it in the freezer, which it certainly won't hurt anything. But just keep in mind that you're going to have to let it sit out at room temperature a little bit before you'll be able to press that plunger and get the jello shot to come out. Yeah, I that's what I call it, X-ray, a refrigerator or a fridge. You say maybe it's a regional thing. Icebox sounds cooler. It does sound cooler. And perhaps that's why she used it because it sounded cooler. Um, but so I don't know. I ain't heard Uncle Bill. So I don't know if he's, left us, had to do something, or he's gonna come back later or whatever. But is everybody ready that's gonna be watching the film tonight? Is everybody queued up that's gonna be watching? Again, I am 10 seconds in, right before the Universal logo comes up. It's like a starry sky out there. So Super Batman, no, you said, but I'm far opposite of a Southerner. I don't hunt or drink any sweet tea. I don't generally drink sweet tea, but I know a lot of people that do. And I don't hunt either, but my dad does a lot of hunting, and he used to do a lot of hunting when I was a kid. But y'all just yay or nay there in the chat, and I'll give it about another minute or so, or 30 seconds or whatever, and then we'll go ahead and do the countdown and get started. Yep, guys and gals, another weekend in the books. It feels like these weekends go way too fast. Well, Coco, nobody has a problem with you, hon. You said people seem to have a problem with me, so I'll skedaddle. You guys have a nice watching night. You feel free to stick around all you want, Coco, and if anybody gives you grief, I'll tell them all. Because nobody in here now that I know of has any problem with you. So feel free to stick around if you want to. Yeah, I'm with Blissful. You stay. X-Ray ain't complaining. I think everybody in here likes you very much, Coco. And you feel free to tell me if somebody's giving you problems because that's one thing I don't want to happen in these live streams that I have personally. There's not going to be anybody picking on people that that come in here on a regular basis, especially. And honey, you don't say anything wrong. I haven't seen you say one thing that's off color. Um, so, um, so we're going to go ahead and Oh, as far as I know, Uncle Bill, nobody said anything, but poor Coco said the people seem to have a problem with her, so she's going to skedaddle. And she said, "You guys have a nice watching and night." And I was like telling her that she was welcome to stay. I mean, I don't put up with anybody bullying or picking on anybody in these streams. X-Ray, he said the only people on here who bug me don't seem to be on tonight. Uh-huh. Well, I hope nobody bugs anybody. But so Uncle Bill, I don't know if you heard me say this, but you said you hadn't heard of private schools. So this would be an awesome one for you to get your ass on here and do this watch along with me. Because and you have no excuse because I have a link to join me here on StreamYard. I have a link from archive.org for the private school movie. So, okay. So, Uncle Bill must be doing something more important. I hope you're spending time with your kids, Uncle Bill. So, we're going to go ahead and get started for those of us that are going to be watching along. And so I'm going to bring up my movie here and we're going to do the 3, 2, 1 and press play. So 3, 2, 1, press play, and we're going. So there's Kathleen Wilhite talking to Betsy Russell and Phoebe Cates there. I love Kathleen Wilhite. In any movie that opens with "You're breaking my heart, you're tearing it apart, so fuck you," and they had to change this song, of course, when it was on television, and I've forgotten what the song was, but it was definitely not that song. I mean, even though this has nudity and a little bit of sex and raunchy situations, I really think this is a fun, really fun movie. Sylvia Crystal's in this as the sex teacher, of course. And this was directed by Noel Black. So then we go right from that intro song to these girls reading a sex novel. And now we're getting Rock This Town by the Stray Cats. This movie does have some good music in it. So you're getting the typical, this is the male fantasy. All these girls in various stages of undress and in lingerie, girls taking showers. Um, and there's Phoebe Cates and Kathleen Wilhite. And I believe that's Betsy Russell in the shower there through that frosted glass right now. So, of course, these boys are trying to catch a glimpse of the female form here. So we just lost about four or more people. So I don't know if they just figured out this movie wasn't their cup of tea. So Bubba's taking pictures of, well, now he's not going to be able to help himself. And Betsy Russell, of course, is seeing him in the mirror. And this sort of reminds me of the scene in Animal House where Belushi is up on the ladder and he sees the girl, you know, pleasuring herself because she's not getting anything for her boyfriend. And he just falls backwards on the ladder. Super Batman Nerd, you say, too bad we can't see who laughed. Ah, it doesn't matter. I mean, I assume that Uncle Bill will have to leave if he hasn't already. And you can tell that Kathleen Wilhite and Phoebe Cates, their characters don't much care for Betsy Russell's character here. Oh, and that's the first of many nude scenes from Betsy Russell. I'll tell you, Kathleen Wilhite is somebody that I would really want to meet. But as far as I know, she hadn't been at any conventions or anything. And she was in, she was in some horror films, Witchboard being one of them. So they went and got some horse poop. And they're gonna do the old, where people get dog poop and put it in a bag and light it on fire, and then it's fire, fire, and somebody comes out and stomps on it to put out the fire and ends up getting shit all over their feet. Blair, you said to meet Jensen Daggett at Scarefest. I'm planning on being at Scarefest, Blair. Maybe I'll see you. Anybody that's seen Matthew Modine in Stranger Things will say, "Oh my God, he was young here." Of course, this was 1983. Yeah, I mean, if you see me, Blair, and I don't see you, just feel free to come up and say hey. I think the music's really good on this movie. I mean, definitely a product of its time, but still good. And her name is Miss Dutchbach, and they call her Miss Douchebag. Superman Nerdy say I spotted Happy Gilmore's grandma. Now, one of these songs they sang, Phoebe Cates actually recorded with the band, I think. I can't remember if it's this song that's playing right now or another one. So Jim and Chris there are talking about, you know, having, their first sexual experience as a couple. And, of course, he's all excited and stuff. And, she's doing the typical woman thing. She loves him. She wants to be with him. But we're never sure about these guys, are we? We're not sure if they're just interested in getting their rocks off or they really care about the girl, right? So we see several close-up shots of guys' hands moving toward the behinds of these girls are dancing with. And also, we get the indication that these guys are getting a little excited dancing real close to their girls, including Bubba there. Blair, she may be, but I think it's more of like a blink and you'll miss performance. I'm not sure exactly where she's at in the movie. And it may very well be that she choreographs some stuff. So you see the guys putting balloons in front of their nether regions. So we basically get the indication that, yeah, all except Jim. Jim's able to keep himself under control, I guess. And then they're having to be introduced to one of these rich ladies who's giving money to the school. And he pops his balloon. And this old lady is hilarious. Blair, if you see Paula Abdul anywhere, be sure to point her out. Now, she's talking about in writing class tomorrow. She begins her competition to try to steal Jim away from Chris. So that is Michael Zorick, I believe, playing Bubba there. So they're going into Miss Dutchbox's office. To we can only assume mess around. And so Betsy is doing her best to get Bubba in the mood here. And she's telling him she likes a lot of foreplay. But when it gets down to it, like, she doesn't really need much foreplay at all. So remember, Miss Dutchbach was taking these ladies around showing them, the school, and she's not going to be too happy here. And here we got another great song, The American Girl by Rick Springfield. I think this is a scene probably that a lot of guys like because, we see several shots of these very attractive women with good figures, doing these exercises in their shorty shorts and stuff. Not all of them are in shorty shorts, but Phoebe Cates even looks cute in that little outfit she's got on. So here's the introduction to Sylvia Crystal here. And she's going to be teaching them about sex. Oh, so then Miss Dutchbog is bringing these ladies in. And evidently, Miss Dutchbog didn't know they were going to be talking about, they're not going to be having a sex ed class. And she's kind of embarrassed. So now Chris is planning to make reservations at a hotel, a very romantic hotel that evidently I believe her parents stayed at on their honeymoon. And so she wants this romantic weekend with Jim, but she's very nervous, as you can tell there. So here is the big horseback riding scene coming up here. And I know all you guys have been waiting with bated breath for this scene here. Or you guys that have seen this movie before. So then Jordan sees Chris and Jim there, and it looks like they're enjoying each other's company, and it pisses her off. And it pisses her off. Why? Because she wants Jim. So um, Jordan's thinking about doing something that she really shouldn't do, but hey, she doesn't give a shit. So she's kind of on the prowl. And Betsy is not happy about this. She knows what Jordan's planning on doing. So here's the big reveal. I mean, we saw a little bit of her boobs there. There we go. That's the scene that all the guys remember. If there's one thing they remember about this movie, it's that shot. And then the older lady saying that's the finest example of bareback riding I've ever seen. So now Chris is saying that she will go, and get the condoms. And Jim tries to be, I guess, gentlemanly. And he says, no, I'll get them. And she says, okay. And he says, I suppose I'd just like to, I'd just like to buy some condoms. And she says, maybe be a little more sophisticated. So, now, those of you that were regular watchers of the later episodes of Roseanne will remember the guy there. And he says, I'd like to buy some prophylactic devices. This whole conversation is very funny because we're going to figure out that the pharmacist there um, is thinking that he needs stuff to prevent cavities and stuff. And so he's, talking about things with a rubber tip and all of that, and various degrees of stiffness. And then he says, "Did your dentist recommend anything in particular?" So he comes out with a bag of stuff, and Chris says, "What the hell is this stuff?" And he says, "Well, he misunderstood. It was too much trouble." And she's like, "I'll get it." He may have been in Clue. I believe that's Martin Mull. And Miss Dutchbach is there getting some, I guess, that's supposed to take years off her face. So she just basically says, I'd like to buy some condoms. So forget about the sophistication. So the stuff has started to harden on Miss Dutchbox's face on one side. And so they're both embarrassed to see each other. Christine, for one, because she's buying condoms, Miss Dutchbox, because she doesn't want anybody to see her with this stuff on her face. Ah, look at those old RC cans. So I guess they evidently had a video game called The Big Score where you try to have sex with the chick, or maybe that's made up. I don't know. Hey, Russell, maybe somebody can let me know if there's really a video game called The Big Score. So they're kidding Jim about being afraid to call Chris in front of them. And then this just like guys, especially young guys. I guess that probably could be safe to say, Blair. I mean, it definitely was influential in making sure that these movies, kept carrying on for a while. And I mean, we still have sex comedies, but honestly, I don't feel like they're nearly as good as these early to mid '80s ones. Yeah, maybe Animal House too as well. And of course, Jordan is listening on the extension. And Chris is wanting Jim to say he loves her. And his friends think that is hilarious. And then Jordan says, and I love you too, Jimbo. Yeah, you're probably right, Super Batman Nerd. That game was just a problem. I couldn't even imagine them having a game like that in a place where, older teenagers and adults would be at. So I am going to take myself out of the stream momentarily, but you guys keep watching the movie for those of you who are watching, and I will be right back. Okay, so I'm back now. I did not know that Super Batman nerd that Atari had porn games. And so you say you're having fashion flashbacks. So while I was away, I see that I missed the scene where Rita, Jordan's friend, her boob busted out of her cheerleading uniform, and also the coach's uniform messed up. So Miss Dutchbach is giving Coach Whalen some alcohol. Who says it's a poison to the body? Wow. I had no idea, Super Batman nerd. They're super expensive now. I would imagine so. So Coach Whalen is no longer considering the alcohol poison to the body. And she's just going to say screw it and start drinking straight from the bottle. Now the boys are dressed as girls, and not very successfully, I might add. Now the boys are officially inside this fantasy world. I think this is a Vanity Six song. Nasty Girl. I believe they were the ones that sang that. So it doesn't seem that Bubba wanted to be with Betsy. He wanted to, maybe have a fun with maybe Jordan. These three guys are make the ugliest women I've ever seen. And it's obvious that Jordan knows that that's Jim and not a girl. And she's going into her whole spiel about how guys don't find her attractive. I don't believe I have seen that or no, I have not. I don't think I've seen Sorority Boys. Russell, he said, not watching right now, but will later. The way you talk about got me interested. This scene, it's raunchy, but it's so hilarious. And so she keeps saying she's going to make it cooler for him. And she's turning it up to 90. And this poor guy, Roy, he's the third wheel. Well, if you think it's a good Super Batman Nerd and Blissful does too, then I definitely need to watch it. So he tells Betsy to start without him. And he says he's going to the bathroom to have a smoke because in Europe they smoke before instead of after. What a crock of shit. Ah, you say it's about three boys that got kicked out of their fraternity. They dress up like girls to find out who ruined their reputation. Cool. So Bubba's really wanting to see what's going on with Jordan and Jim. So he neglected to lock the door. So Jordan's claiming to have a cramp and yeah. And she says there's one spot that's a little tight. So he's moving down her back. And she just keeps saying lower. So Bubba is seeing more girls and he's like, ooh, I gotta check this out. And then she says, let me turn over so I can so you can do the other side. And he's like, oh, can't. And he's like, I have to tell you something. I'm not really a girl. To which she does the most fake ass scream, then pulls his wig off. Oh no. So Chris is coming back. And this looks very, very bad for Jim. Now we're getting I Want Candy by Bow Wow Wow. And we're going to get to see more, female nudity. Because these girls, they've just taken their run and now they're going to get in the shower. I'm obviously not in tune with the nudity. But there is one really petite girl in here that you'll see spinning around in a circle in the shower. That I think it's that one girl in the middle. She's really, really petite. She's so cute though. There she goes. So they don't even seem to care that there's a guy in there. So this is pretty much an extended nude scene, watching these girls put on their bras and their panties and drying off and having conversations. So it's evidently 140 in that steam room. And he's thinking about getting out there, and oh no, there's Miss Dutchbot. I do too, Super Batman Nerd. I absolutely love just one of the guys. And then the one with Corey Haim, just one of the girls. So, Russ, are you saying if you've seen one naked bird, you've seen them all? I just think the one girl, not because she was naked, just in the face, I thought she was cute. Was what you say you watched just one of the guys a while ago? Yeah, it's been a little bit since I watched it last. So poor Bubba is stuck under this bench that Miss Touchbox is on, relaxing. I think this Little Red Riding Hood song, I think it's by Sam Sham and the Pharaohs or something like that. So Coach Whalen is drunk off her ass now, and so Betsy's trying to be nice and help her, and she's like, "You can come to my room and sleep it off." So Bubba finally saw his escape. But I always find this scene funny because he's making his way back up to Betsy's room. He can only assume that Betsy's in there asleep, pissed off at him. And poor Roy's still running around trying to get somebody to talk to him. And of course, Bubba thinks he is apologizing to Betsy. Please, for the love of God, you girls or you ladies out there, please tell me you never had a guy um, who had a danger live wire on the front of his shorts. But so you say it was released in 1966. See, I knew you would know. So Bubba almost got it on with Coach Whalen, which wouldn't have been good. So the three guys didn't have a really good night. So Jim is assumed he's lost Chris. So this Just One Touch song is sang by Bill Ray and Phoebe Cates. And she's putting all the pictures of her in the drawer, taking the necklace off that he gave her. And you can see that she just wants to talk to Jim, but then she thinks, no, I'm not going to do it. And I always love this song, Just One Touch. If you really listen to the words, it's kind of telling Chris and Jim's story within this movie. And that's what, for me, makes this more than just your standard sex comedy, is the fact that there is a love story going on here. Hey, 1980s Betamax. Yes, I have watched the movie Up Academy. Yeah, but I don't hear people talk about it. Yeah, also in Fast Times. And he sent her flowers and she just throws them away. And he's thinking about calling her again, and no, he just gives up. And they're both alone. Excuse me. So Bubba's talking about the old pizzazz. Jim, where's the old pizzazz? And he says, you got the hottest girl in school chasing after you and you're depressed. But then he calls Chris. He says, why don't you forget about dumb old Chris and give Jordan a chance? Jim doesn't like that. That's right, Super Batman Nerd. Joysticks also came out in 83. Thank you, Blissful. So this is Chris's dad, and so Jim's talking to him. He said, me and Chris had an understanding, but now Chris won't even talk to me. And he's like, well, Chris has a mind of her own, but I'll put in a good word for you. So this is Parents' Day at Cherryville at the girls' school. Yeah, Class is another good one, 1980s Betamax. My dog was making a noise over there. And this is I think it's Rita's father, and he's inebriated, obviously. So evidently, Jordan's father, who's very, very rich, is planning on giving money to Cherryvale. And so Miss Dutchfox is planning on going, up to the parking lot or whatever to see if Mr. Jensen has made it there. So there is Jordan's father with his new wife, whose name is Bambi. And there he is, Ray Walston as Chauncey, the chauffeur. So Betsy's saying she's going to give Bubba another chance. And Chris says, after what he did, and she's like, oh, what the hell? Maybe you should give Jim another chance too. And she said, you didn't cancel those hotel reservations. She says, I'm going to forgive Bubba. Compared to Bubba, Jim's a saint. She says, compared to Bubba, anybody's a saint. I tell you, Ray Walston always acted like he was having a hell of a good time in these movies. So this is his eighth wife because Jordan says, what happened to Miss Jordan Lee Jensen, number seven? So Bambi is none too thrilled that her new husband seems to have an eye on all the young girls there as well. So Mr. Flugel just pushed Miss Copuletta into the pool. So Jordan's daddy is going to give mouth to mouth to Miss Copuletta. And she's getting a little turned on, and baby's not happy. 1980s Betamax, she said that Bubba used to play on all kinds of 80s movies and shows. And yes, he was in Facts of Life. I'd forgotten that, but thanks for reminding me about that. So it seems that Chris and Jim have made up. And Miss Dutchbox is going to confuse Chauncey with Jordan's father. So, 1980s Betamax, you say Betsy Russell had a birthday last week. She turned 60. Well, that's still pretty young. That's not old at all nowadays. So Chauncey is, he's going along with the charade. He's, acting as if he is Jordan's father, and he's like saying he's going to write a check. And he says, I must have left my checkbook in the car. Will you accompany me to the car? Then he's looking around before he gets in there. And there Bubba and Betsy are, and they're going to get in the front seat. Russell, you say you're older than her by 7 years? So Bubba thinks that noise is Betsy. And then they realize, something's going on back there. And one of the people back there is Miss Dutchbog. And then they found the microphone. So you can only imagine what they're going to do with that, right? So everybody is hearing this evidently sexual exchange between Miss Dutchbach and Chauncey. Yeah, Ray Walston was a great actor, in my opinion. So now she's figured out their voices seem like they're amplified. Oh no. And Bubba unfortunately hits or releases the brake on the car. So Bubba's trying to steer the car, and Miss Dutchbach won't let him go. So the car's careening into tables and stuff, and now it's going to end up in the pool. So now Jim and Chris are finally going to get to go to the hotel. We have to wonder, is this going to be like they imagine? Yeah, I think Ms. Ballbricker would be worse. Super Batman nerd, actually. So now that Jim is out of the picture for now, Bubba is getting everybody to take bets about, when whether or not he can score with Jordan. Okay. To which Bubba announces he's going to be rich. So it seems that this hotel that was so romantic for, I believe, Chris's parents on their honeymoon has become kind of like a tourist trap, basically. Yeah, she says 23 years on their honeymoon. So Chris is having a hard time remembering what name she gave when she made the reservation. So I think they find out that All the rooms are honeymoon suites. Oh, yeah, the penis scene in the principal's office on Porky's, oh my gosh, that cracks me up every time. So this guy is obviously wanting, money for bringing the luggage in and stuff. Really, Russell? I didn't know that, but you say Honeymoon Suite is a classic Canadian rock band. 1980s Betamax, you say, I think Ray was in 1983's High School USA. That's a movie with a lot of stars in it. It was made for NBC TV. I don't think I've seen that one. I'll have to try to check that one out. Blissful knows of them, and Blissful likes drummers, so she would remember that. I trust her opinion on rock bands. So they get some complimentary pink champagne, and this time Jim knows exactly how much to give the bellboy. Well, that's what you say, not necessarily like just stuck with them. So Jordan has now arrived, but what she doesn't know is all these guys are going to be oops, hidden around the room, and she thinks, oops, I'm knocking everything over. Jordan thinks that Jim is going to be there, or he's eventually going to be there, right? Otherwise, she wouldn't even be there. So they're arguing. They don't know why Roy gets to stay, and they have to get out of there. And he says, one of you can be in the closet with Roy, but the rest of you have to be out by the time I get back with Jordan. So we're going to get to see more nudity, courtesy of Miss Betsy Russell here shortly. So now Bubba knows all those guys are in the closet. There's a Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers poster back there. So Chris is saying it isn't perfect, and I'm not feeling romantic like I thought I would. And Jim wants to know what she is feeling. She says nauseous. To which Jim says the wrong thing. Well, this is just what I needed. And he says, I'm sorry you're not feeling romantic. Yeah, I'm feeling romantic. He's being a little bit of an asshole here. All right, he's being an all out asshole here. Yeah, I agree, Super Batman Nerd. And I mean these classic sex comedies. Yeah. And she says, I'm feeling drunk and scared and like I'm going to toss my cookies any second. So everybody's almost falling asleep. The one guy under the bed is asleep. And Jordan's getting tired of waiting for Jim. And we all know Jim's not showing up. So he's trying to encourage her to drink some champagne before she leaves. She's like red champagne. And sprays it all over her. So Betsy, I guess, is coming by to see Bubba. And she looks a little more than a little pissed there. Oh no. Oh, so yeah, his little ruse is about to fall apart here because Betsy says that Jim and Chris left hours ago to go to the hotel. And she is pissed off now. I agree with that, although it's, in this woke generation, you probably wouldn't get by with having much of that, if at all. But you say sex comedies back then all need to have the obligatory funny fat guy. I think there are all of a sudden more guys in this room than there were to begin with. I'm not sure. 1980s Betamax. The last time I saw a copy, there was a DVD copy, and I think I got mine at Big Lots. Oh, Russell. I mean, it's great if you're funny, but I doubt very seriously if you're a fat guy. I try not to call people fat. I may say somebody's heavy or something, but I would never go up to their face and say that. So this is going to be, and yes, it includes some nudity from Phoebe Cates and Matthew Modine as well. But I think this is, and I know this is going to be a silly woman talking here. I think this is the most romantic part of the whole entire movie. So she's saying she behaved like a real jerk, and he's like, so did I. And he tells her he loves her. And you can tell that this time, you know for sure he means it. And she tells him she loves him. And she says, I guess it just wasn't it. You know, the right time, the right place, the right anything. I think they both were just trying too hard. And now we're getting the Just One Touch song that Phoebe Cates sang with Bill Ray again. Super Batman Nerd, you say, I think American Pie detoured the funny fat guy thing because they didn't get one until the Book of Love. I guess they figured probably they didn't need that trope at that time. I need Blissful to back me up on this because she's the other lady in this, unless we've got some ladies that aren't chatting. Because I guess Coco left. Blissful, don't you agree that this is like a very romantic scene? If you're still in here, so we get that, but I just think it's so romantic. So they're back in town again. But this is actually Jordan and her father and Miss Copuletta, who, has just married Jordan's father. And it's getting ready to be graduation. Listen, you say it's romantic, but you know me, all I can think of is sand everywhere. LOL. Well, I thought a little bit about that too. That would probably be the only drawback to that. Super Batman Nerdy said, but by then American Pie was getting stale after Naked Mile. So this is not a very long movie, guys and gals. So we're coming up on the last few minutes of this film. Um, we're gonna get, one final little zinger here in just a little bit. So why Bubba is dressed like a woman at this point, I don't know. Um, and why Roy's dressed like some gangster or something. Mr. Fluger is trying to sandwich himself in because he thinks Bubba is a woman evidently with 5 o'clock shadow. So Betsy's going to make the farewell remarks, as they say, for the class. And she says, I'd like to thank you for all you've done for us. No, you won't be seeing our shining faces anymore, but here's something you can always remember us by. And this is coming up on the big zinger. They're singing like the Cherryville song, and they say, and we leave behind this moon, and they all moon Miss Dutchbach, who is horrified or mortified. So I sincerely hope that you guys have enjoyed this. Um, I look forward to more and more of these watch alongs. Um, and I'll be putting some promotion up for the next couple of watch alongs, which will be this next weekend, this upcoming weekend. And they will be Children of the Corn on Saturday the 16th and the Breakfast Club on Sunday the 17th. So I look forward to those upcoming. Um, Not sure about Monday. If if I will be doing anything and what I will be doing it on if I do one. But Tuesday, again, I don't know. Wednesday, TJ and I should be finishing up season 3 of Friday the 13th, the series. And we have decided that next on the agenda for us will be Tales from the Crypt. So you can, look forward to all of those things coming up. Thursday, I will probably do another Seductive Boys in the Resurgence. Probably be talking about another batch of So Bad They're Good films. Friday, unfortunately, I'm working the late shift on Friday, so there will not be a midday with Dana and Jay this week. but we will return the following Friday. And then, of course, we've got the watch alongs for the weekend. Russell, you said the Brits have some great sex comedies, not much nudity, but still funny. And you said, let you know, Dana, how it was for me. Okay, yeah, you do that, Russell. And Blissful, you said, I'd forgotten how funny this movie was. Great idea, Dana. Thank you very much. No, Russell, actually, we're going to be talking about the Tales from the Crypt television series. I know you're not really a fan of those television series, but that has been what TJ and I have been covering for a while now. It's different television series, like horror television series. So we're tying up these credits, and yeah, I think we have reached the end. A private school. You love that series only, Russell? Okay, well, then we can probably count on you tuning in for at least some of those. So, I maybe can stay on here till 9:15, about 3 more minutes. So, if anybody wants to ask me anything or comment on anything, here's your chance. I will try to answer any and all questions to the best of my ability. But it is Sunday, and for some reason, I've been awfully tired today. Yeah, I was thinking she did some choreography, Super Batman nerd, but I don't like to say that, hey, this person didn't show up in there, because a lot of times I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I'm really gonna have to get to bed earlier tonight, because I'm sure it will be a busy Monday at my job, and probably a busy Monday for many of you guys and gals that will be heading off to jobs tomorrow. Blizzle, you say, I did a quick check on YouTube. They have several Tales episodes. I'll have to find them all if I can. Cool, Blissful. And thanks for sharing that too, because there might be other people that want to, brush up on these episodes before TJ and I actually discuss them. Russell, you say, love the episode with Bill Paxton and Brad Dourif. But I did get a little, I hope y'all didn't see me almost nodding off, because I'm not being a very good host for these watch alongs if I almost fall asleep. But again, I've been just, I don't know, today especially, I've been wiped out. You can ask Blissful, though. I've been talking to her way up in the morning hours. And so neither one of us, I don't think, has been getting much sleep. Super Batman Nerd, you say I'm off, but got to take my mom to dialysis tomorrow. Oh, man. Well, try to have a good day with your mom. I know taking somebody to dialysis is not fun, and it's probably not fun for your mom either to go. But y'all try to uh, make the best of it. Being with a parent, in any capacity, sometimes is better than not being with the parent. Ooh, cool, Bliss. So you say I'm breaking out the horror theme nail art tomorrow. You're gonna have to send me some pics, Blissful. I'm really eager to see that. Russell, you say no work for me. I'm retired. Ah, bless your heart, and I mean that sincerely, Russell. I'm looking forward to the days when I can retire and kind of do my own thing on my own time. Yes, I agree with Blissful. Super Batman Nerd, you will be in my thoughts tomorrow. You and your mom both. You drop her off and then you pick her up like 3 hours later. Yeah, I know that dialysis is a process. I knew a guy back home that had to go for dialysis. And I worked with a girl that her dad had to go for dialysis as well. Oh, cool, Bliss. Well, I definitely want to see some pics of that. Because you learned how to do blood splatter today. Okay, well, guys and gals, and Blissful, by the way, I'll be sending you a voice message here shortly. I need to listen to your other two messages before I do that. So I know I owe you some answers or some responses. But with all that being said, I'm going to skedaddle on out of here for the night, and I will see everyone on the flip side. Y'all have a good night now, and I will see you all next time. Good night.